Hi, my name is Reva Rampalli, and this is my interpersonal competence presentation. At the start of the semester, I set 3 personal goals for myself. And these were goals that I created based on assessing the different strengths and weaknesses that I possess currently as an interpersonal communicator. So, the first goal that I set for myself was to maintain eye contact while speaking to others. I noticed that sometimes when I'm not the one who's actively speaking, I tend to avoid maintaining eye contact with whoever is the active speaker at the time. The second goal that I had was working towards modifying my resting facial expression from one that is more neutral to one that is more pleasant and maybe incorporating a smile. And the third goal was to improve my question asking skills, especially in settings where I'm at a speaker event or someone else is presenting. I wanted to really work on coming up with more effective questions that are going to move the conversation forward. So, diving into the progress that I've made towards achieving these goals, I'm proud to say that I've successfully achieved each and every one of these 3 goals. And there were some unexpected things that I learned along the way of achieving these goals. The first thing I want to mention is, especially, when I was working towards achieving my first goal of maintaining eye contact, I think, and across all goals, honestly, it's not just like a single one person effort. In order to achieve these goals, I had both my conscious efforts in making these small changes in order to achieve these goals, but also the support from my family and my friends in creating experiences that made opportunities for me to work on my facial expressions, maintaining eye contact, improving my questioning skills. And another big one was the textbook readings that we had. Different class concepts that we covered over the course of the semester really helped me to understand how I can work towards achieving these goals. 3 that really helped were the verbal messages, nonverbal messages, and the listening class concepts. They really taught me how to be a more critical listener, someone who understands the importance of combining verbal and nonverbal cues for effective communication, and also just understanding how miscommunications can be avoided by effectively utilizing nonverbal cues. I didn't really face significant setbacks, I would say, very fortunately, in this process. I think I've just really taken out every opportunity I've had in order to better improve myself and work towards achieving these goals. So during class presentations or any speaker events that I attended over the course of the semester, I really worked on consciously making changes to what I've been so used to doing in order to improve and work on these goals of mine. So that included at speaker events, I would actually shift my listening style to being a more critical listener. I've always been an active listener, but I feel like critical listening is something that I started doing only after I set these goals for myself. And this really involved analyzing and evaluating what the speaker was saying. And that helped me to write down some quick notes, like some bullet points, which ultimately helped me to ask better questions and move the conversation forward and create a bigger and better discussion overall. Um, I honestly thought that this was a very um, rewarding opportunity to be able to set these 3 goals for myself and being able to work towards them. I know that we had a shorter time period, only a few weeks, um, since a semester is a short time period. But really being able to have that time constraint, I think it kind of helped me to be more motivated actually to complete these goals of mine and make these changes in my life. Um, but I definitely see a huge difference in who I was as a communicator in February versus who I am now in the first week of May, I think I've really shifted who I am for the better, and I've truly turned what were once weaknesses of mine as a communicator into my strengths. Um, like I mentioned before, the three class concepts that truly helped me in achieving the progress towards my goals were nonverbal messages, verbal messages, and listening. So I would say that for my first goal, I think maintaining eye contact, verbal messages was the class concept that was truly the most helpful. And this is because I learned that if you avoid making eye contact, sometimes it could really contradict like what words you're saying. So sometimes you might be saying one thing, but because of the gestures you make or avoiding eye contact, that can make the listener interpret what you're saying in a completely different way and ultimately cause confusion in the conversation. For my second goal, which was modifying my facial expressions, the class concept of nonverbal messages was super helpful. It really showed me how important it is to express your emotions effectively and appropriately in nonverbal communication. Sometimes even though you might be feeling happy or excited or proud of something on the inside, that doesn't always get reflected in your expressions. So, making sure that you're actually aligning what you're non-verbally expressing with what you're verbally saying is extremely important to be a strong interpersonal communicator. As for my third goal, which was improving my question asking skills, the class concept listening was super duper helpful. I noticed that being a critical listener was something I never really thought much about. I always thought that to be an effective communicator, you have to be an active listener, but there are four types of listening, and critical listening is a really important one, especially when it comes to questioning skills, um, because it's so much more than just actively listening to what the speaker is saying and making sure you're engaged in the conversation, but it's also about thinking of what the deeper meaning behind those words is and really trying to evaluate how you can question and ask the speaker any questions to really improve the conversation and move it forward.